everyone, my name is Deborah J. Kelly, Intrepid Explorer of the Mind, Body and Soul, and today I wanted to talk about life purpose. So this has been something which has plagued me for years, and probably more so in the last couple of years. I have literally spent many snotty-tearfests crying into a pillow and pleading with the universe to give me a sign and to deliver to me what my life purpose is. And more recently, it's been a real struggle because I've been really trying to figure out how I can serve. So what I had actually done over the last wee while was work with the power of manifestation. So what I did was I was having a look online and I saw a good number of videos about Nikola Tesla's power of 369. Now this is everywhere. If you look up YouTube, Nikola Tesla 369, you're going to come across a lot of videos about it, and you will learn more about Nikola Tesla himself, who was an inventor. He was incredible. He's invented a lot of things, including free energy, actually, is one of the things that he's invented, which we're hoping maybe that we'll see in the next couple of years. But anyway, just to kind of come back to the power of 369, Nikola Tesla wrote down, if anybody, I'm just paraphrasing here, but he basically said, if anybody really truly understood the power of 3, 6 and 9, they'd hold the keys of the universe. So for any of you who are watching, I don't know whether you'll know about numerology, but numerology is essentially working with the power of numbers. You know, mathematics by itself, geometry, all the numbers that we have from 1 to 9 actually hold their own individual powers and characteristics and strengths. Even when you're working with tarot from 1 to 10, and you know, in the different arcana as well, all the different numbers have different strengths in them, and you know, they symbolize different things. So there's lots of different, if you look up numerology and if you look up the power of numbers, you'll see lots of different variations on the same thing, talking about the different variations of the numbers and what they mean in terms of geometry, numerology, and all that kind of side of things. So you can take a look at that yourself. But with the power of 369, I started to kind of think about, okay, well, how can I use the power of 369 and what does it really mean? So I essentially did my research and discovered that when we are manifesting, specifically when we're manifesting, if we use the number 3, 6 and 9, or any number that adds up to 3, 6 or 9, we can manifest with greater power, greater energy and greater transformation a lot quicker. So for argument's sake, what I did was I essentially manifested, I think it was on the 3rd of the month. So you can manifest on the 3rd of the month, the 8th of the month, the 6th of the month, the 9th of the month, or anything that adds up to, you know, if it was the 12th of the month, 2 and 1 is 3, and there's your 3. So, and with numerology, quite often they'll take like double numbers and add them up and they'll get a single number. So you want to, any double number, you want to add them together to get a single number. And as long as that single number adds up to 3, 6 or 9, then you're all hunky-dory. So what I actually did was I created a statement. You know, you can call it an affirmation if you want, but really it's a statement. When you're working with the laws of attraction, the important parts of the laws of attraction are that when you're saying your intention, or when you're saying your statement, you want it to be as though it already is. So imagine, for argument's sake, you're online and you've placed an order and it's on its way to you, and you're getting excited about that gift which is on its way to you. You've placed your order, you know that it's on its way, and you're just excited waiting for it to come in the post. It's a little bit like that. So when you're manifesting, you want to manifest in the present. You want to manifest as though you have it already. And when you're creating a statement, you want to create a statement that carries emotional words, or words that have feeling attached to them. So I created my own statement, and I'm going to tell you what that is now in a few minutes. And with that, I also followed another little nugget of wisdom by Abraham Hicks, which is when you're setting your intention, that your focus needs to be on that for at least 17 seconds. So I made sure when I was writing out my statement that it took about 17 seconds to actually write out the statement or even to speak the statement. So my theory of what I was going to do was that I was going to have this particular statement. It was going to be in the present tense as though it had already happened. It was going to contain emotions of gratitude and thanks and excitement and emotive words. It was going to be set on a date that corresponded to using either 3, 6 or 9. And my intention was that I was going to do it 3 times in the morning at 9 o'clock. I was going to do it 6 times during the day at 3 o'clock, and I was going to do it 9 times in the evening at 6 or 9 o'clock, whichever. It didn't really matter. So you'll be able to see I was using 3, 6 and 9, repeating it 3 times in the morning, 6 times during the day and 9 times in the evening. And I was using the times during the day, which was 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the day, and 9 or 6 o'clock in the evening. So I was just playing with 3, 6 or 9. This was really me just playing around with the whole concept. You know, I remember in my own mind, I was kind of going, this is, you know, is this going to work? Come on. But then at the other side of it, you know, that's my ego. My ego does not want me to be able to manifest what I want because it makes it redundant. It makes the mind a lot less powerful. You know, we want to have control of our mind. We don't want our mind to have control of us as much as we possibly can. And so when I heard in my head kind of going, you know, this is probably not going to work, I was like, okay, well, it's not if I keep thinking that way. And what have I got to lose? Like, really, what have I got to lose? I've got nothing to lose, you know. So give it a go, give it a try, give it a whirl. And one of the videos I was looking at online was saying that you should do it for at least 33 days. So, and then somebody else was saying that, you know, they had done it and it had manifested quicker than 33 days. So I feel in terms of how quickly you get what it is that you're trying to manifest is more down to how much emotion you can feel when you're reading your statement out loud and how much you can feel that it's real. You know, the more you feel that it's real and that you actually, this is happening, then it's going to happen so much quicker. So my statement that I created was very much based around my life purpose because I had been absolutely head melted with trying to figure out what that was. And I decided, well, why don't I manifest my life purpose? Give it a go. So my statement was, and I'll break this down afterwards why I've done the various different bits in it. But my statement was, thank you, universe, for sending me clear messages on my life purpose, which brings me satisfaction, joy, fulfillment, financial freedom, love, and amazing heart-centered people into my life. Thank you also for my unexpected financial abundance. Isn't it wonderful? So in that statement, you will see that I've said, thank you, universe. Thank you, universe is like, you know, it's already happened. Thanks, universe, because I know that it's already happened. For bringing me clear messages on my life purpose. Because at that point, I just was so muddled as to what my life purpose was. I hadn't a clue. It was really, you know, I would go this way and then I would go that way and then I would go this way. And it was like I just wasn't feeling into my body properly and I wasn't trusting my own higher self to lead me and guide me in the right direction. So that's why I said, please send me clear messages on my life purpose. Or not please, but thank you for sending me clear messages on my life purpose. Which brings me satisfaction, because that's all I just wanted satisfaction. I wanted to go to bed at the end of the day and feel, you know, once I was living my life purpose, go to bed at the end of the day and go, yeah, you know, I'm contributing, I'm serving, and I'm doing something that I really love. So which brings me satisfaction, joy, like joy. The word joy is a feeling, an emotive word. And that's what I want. I want joy. I want joy from whatever my life purpose is. Fulfillment. Fulfillment is another emotive word. It gives you feelings of being full, of being grateful, of being really contented. So fulfillment. financial freedom. So financial freedom is, it doesn't necessarily have to be about huge amounts of wealth or not wealth. It's just that I'm not stuck financially. Love, because who doesn't want love? Everybody wants love. The universe wants me to want love, or it wants me to have love, and so I included love. And amazing heart-centered people into my life, which I felt was really important, because I have been an absolute queen at attracting not always the right people into my life. And with that, rather than be, describe the kind of people that I want in my life, I want them to be heart-centered people. Heart-centered people, no matter who they are, have a goodness and a purity and a loving soul about them. So that's what I wanted. So amazing heart-centered people into my life. And then I also, at the end of it, obviously put in thank you also for my unexpected financial abundance, because it would be great to have some unexpected financial abundance, because at the moment I'm trying to figure out ways of creating an income for myself without having to go back into the 9-to-5 cage. And financial abundance, I'm hoping, will just come in from wherever it needs to come from. So with that, I'm letting go of the need to know how, why, or the process that the universe is going to take to give it to me. I have oddly, in my lifetime, accumulated abundance from absolutely nowhere, randomly, just like without planning, and it just has landed in my lap. And even getting things like tax back that you're like, really? I was due really loads of tax back. So I decided to put in unexpected financial abundance, because why not? And then at the end of it, I put, isn't it wonderful? Because that's a really emotive and phrase to put in there, and kind of, it's a present one, and it's as if it's already happened. Isn't it wonderful? It's like it's already here. It's already happening. So I took my statement and wrote it out on a piece of paper, and I kept it with me, took a photograph of it on my phone, read it 3, 6 and 9 times throughout the day. And I had done it for, I think I had done it for maybe 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks. And that's when, if you watch, I have another video that I've just done, that's when I had a bit of a spiritual speed wobble, and I was like, wow, maybe I shouldn't be manifesting. I was like, am I messing with like dark magic here? Is God not going to be impressed with me? Is he not going to be happy? Anyway, I had my spiritual wobble, which you can see in my just previous video, and I stopped the manifesting. And I was like, wow, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. And what was really interesting is it's like I surrendered. I let it, in my head, I was like, well, look, I've done a lot of it already. So, maybe I've done enough that it's going to come to me anyway. And that was kind of my mindset. And then I would say maybe only a few days to maybe even a week, not even, I was having a chat with my mum on the phone, and we were talking about life purpose. And I'd say, she's probably sick to her teeth from listening to me talk about life purpose. She doesn't let on that she is. She seems quite interested still. I don't know how, but anyway. So we were chatting about this, and I was asking her, I was like, if you were my age, and what would you do as a business? Because she's an entrepreneur, and we talk about absolutely everything. And I was sitting on the rug here, and we were just having the chats. And then, as if from nowhere, it just landed in my lap, and I was like, oh wow. I was like, it's not that I didn't even feel. I was like, I think I've just figured it out. It wasn't even I think I figured it out. It was like, that's it. And there was a project I had been putting off. Lockdown came. I was actually writing a book at the time, and I was doing a lot of things just before lockdown. And I had this other project that I had been kind of thinking about playing with, and I had been speaking about it with other people, just as an idea and a project that I wanted to do, like a side project, but I really didn't know how to do it. And I kind of dropped it. And then it just came back into my mind and I was like, I know what I want to do. I have always had this thing about, or not always, but in the last couple of years, about wisdom. And, you know, I say I'm an intrepid explorer of the mind, body and soul, because I'm constantly searching for tools, for understanding, for anything that can bring more clarity to my life as to why I'm here, how I can serve, how I can help others, how I can live my fullest and most truest and most authentic version of myself. How can I be the best human that I can possibly be, not in an egoic way, but in a fulfilling way. And I had really come to an understanding through the last couple of years that our older community, the elders in our community, they're really quite not neglected, some are neglected, but also very misunderstood, especially in Western civilizations. I went traveling the world after my dad died, after a relationship, an engagement I was in fell apart. And when I went traveling, the one thing I noticed in all these other cultures, and in cultures in, say, South America, Central America, India, all these cultures seem to revere their elders in their community a lot more than we do in the West. And I could also see a correlation between how movies, TV, media have all portrayed older people to be kind of in the way, slow. We're living these fast-paced lives and they, they're in the way, they don't get to the point, they're kind of, they're just portrayed to be awkward and not really to be in the forefront. And in all of these other communities around the world where they haven't been touched by the westernized media and that kind of brainwashing that we've received through all the years, these people are revered. They're sought out to be the wisdom keepers of their community, the people who can tell the younger community that it's going to be okay, the people who can tell the younger community, I've been through I've been through 3 recessions and I'm still alive and everything's okay, or I've lost people, I've lost loved ones, I've had bad relationships and I've experienced wars and poverty and whatever, and I'm still here and I'm okay. And it's funny how when we have a friend who says, it's going to be okay, that's great. But really, it's the older people of our community, when they say it to us, it's like, well, you really do know because you've been through all that. A friend who's the same age as you can't go, it's going to be okay, I just know it is, because you don't have the same resonance with that, because they're the same age as you, they've gone through the same life of you, life timeline as you to some extent. And so they're not really as qualified as somebody who's in their 80s or 90s or even 70s or 60s telling you that it's going to be okay. And that, coupled with just the absolute library of wisdom in the minds of our older community, it's just huge. And if we could include our older community with our younger community, I do feel the older community would benefit from interacting with a younger community because it will help keep them young. My nana was 94 when she passed away 5 years ago, and she was the most modern nana I've ever seen or known. Like, she was on Facebook and social media more than I was. She probably had more followers and friends, and she was far more active and social than I even was at that stage. So essentially what I'm saying is, like, the reason she was like that was because she had so many grandchildren that she interacted with them all the time. She always had an interest in them. They always had an interest in her. And I feel that their youth kept her young. Their conversations together kept each other in the timelines and kept my nana modern and up to date with what was going on. But also equally, it meant that the kids were learning from my grandmother as well. So there's like this beautiful exchange of communication, wisdom and information that we can get by being more in contact with the older community. And so I wanted to find a way of bridging the gap with that. I also completely, totally love and adore my mum. We have the most amazing chats. We talk about life, love, relationships, sex, health, spirituality, business, everything. We talk about absolutely everything, no holes barred. And I'm just so incredibly lucky, and I'm really aware of how lucky I am. I'm so aware of the fact that not everybody has a mum that they can talk to like that. Not everybody gets on with their mum. Not everybody has a mum because they may have passed away, or they may just have never had one. Maybe they were removed from a home, whatever. They might not have had grandparents, or those archetypal female role models. And it's really from these beautiful role models that we learn from. And I know I'm speaking about women specifically. It's because that's what's resonating with me now, right here, right now. Because I need to connect more to my own divine feminine, my own femininity. I have lived in a very male-dominated world for my entire life. I've loved it. I get on so well with men. It's incredible. But I also now, in my life where I am at the moment, am doing a lot more to tap into the feminine side of myself, which I've neglected for quite a long time. This is why I'm talking about the feminine side. So what I wanted to do was, I was like, oh wow, I've just figured it out. I want to start a podcast. So I've decided to start a podcast. It's called Intrepid Wisdom. I will be interviewing wisdom keepers and wisdom seekers. It is a channel for people who are looking to dive a little deeper into themselves, who are looking for a little bit more meaning in life. Perhaps they're looking for their life purpose, or they're looking to adopt a wider lens perspective on how we perceive our lives. And in that, I'm going to be interviewing female entrepreneurs who are soulpreneurs, basically people who have found their life passion, mission or purpose, and they're living that, and they're making a living from it, or they're doing that with passion. I want to interview these people to see what has their journey been, what has their challenges and struggles been, what in their childhood were they doing that might maybe reflect what they're finally doing now again. Is it something that they loved to do as a kid, and life got in the way and they're revisiting that as an adult. Maybe it's something completely different, but how are they serving and honouring their soul? That's what I want to know. So I want to interview these kind of women. I also want to interview the older women of our community, the mothers, the grandmothers, the women who have, been in relationships and married for years. I want to speak to these women and learn more about how, what's their key to success. I've found myself asking this to a lot of couples through the years, and the answers have been quite interesting. And quite often the key to a happy, successful, long-term relationship has been that both people allow each other to continue being two individual people, that they don't try to control each other. They both have their own individual lives, but they also spend a lot of time together, and they tend to do a lot of stuff together when they're not doing their individual thing. And respect, huge amount of communication and respect seems to be the order of the day. So I want to dive deeper into that. I want to discuss with older people. I want to discuss sex, because I feel our society has trained us younger women to believe that men are looking for a certain thing, that men are expecting a particular, sex or sex life. And quite often I actually think the men are, from my own research also by speaking with men, I've yet to do more diving deep into this, but I've become more aware of the idea that what us women are being pressured, how we're being pressured to perceive a healthy sex life to be, is actually the same pressures that men are being pressured to perceive their sex life to be. And so we're both, men and women, going around with these false understandings of what a sex life is. And when we come together, we are trying to either fulfill that or impose that on each other, when our heart is saying something different. Our heart is actually saying that it doesn't need to be like that, but we're afraid we're afraid to not do what society tells us and to act how society tells us, because it means that we're somehow wrong or abnormal or different or strange or weird. And so I want to dive a little bit deeper into that and discuss sex. And, you know, when you get older, do older people have sex? You know, what's normal, what's not? In a younger relationship, what's normal, what's not? What keeps things alive? What dampens it? I want to discuss all of these topics as well. So relationships, sex, business, as I say, soulpreneurs, life in general. Let's burst some of the bubbles of the brainwashing that we've had by society to, you know, think a particular way, to, you know, be a particular way because we're being told that's how we should be. Let's start thinking for ourselves, coming back into our heart and having the courage to come back into our heart. I think we need to all, if we could all talk a little bit more openly about how life really is behind the curtains, then we would see that we're not so abnormal. We would see that we're not so strange and different to everybody else. We would see that our own uniqueness is the normality, and that the normality that's been fed to us by marketing, media, social media, TV, movies, especially Hollywood. Guys, do your research on Hollywood and you'll know that it's not all unicorns and rainbows, and you might understand why we've been so brainwashed. And I feel if we could remove the label of normal and come back into ourselves as individual unique beings, then, and accept ourselves more and accept others more, my God, our relationships with other people and our relationships with our partners would be so much more healthy, and perhaps we wouldn't be as so freaking stressed out. So that's what I want to do with my new podcast. I feel that that's my mission and purpose. Is it going to bring me a lot of finance? We'll just have to wait and see, but I'm going to do this because it really resonates with my heart and soul, and I'm really looking forward to it. So this is a little bit of a longer video, apologies for that, but I wanted to show you how I manifested my life purpose. It's taken a lot of work and a lot of time, and yes, I did use the power of 369. I used my statement, but I also, another key to this, people, another key is 2 more keys to manifesting your life purpose or manifesting anything is 1, you have to be in flow. If you're stuck and not moving in the world, you're not meeting people, you're not finding ways to put yourself in front of opportunities, and you're looking for change can't come if you're not moving. It's easier to move a car and push a car if it's already in motion. It's very difficult to push a car when it's static and steady. The same thing is with opportunity. It's very easy to meet opportunity when we're in flow, but when we're stuck and we're not making any attempt to move about in the world, be that online. We're in the middle of lockdown. I had to do my networking online, and that's what's actually unlocked a lot for me. So you need to find a way of moving in the world, however that is for you. And if you're looking for some ideas, then drop me a message below and let's have a chat, or find me on Instagram and we'll have a chat about that. So be in flow. And the other thing as well is giving and receiving. So in order to receive, you need to give. You can't just expect to receive. You need to give. My frustration was, I was like, how do I give? And when I thought about it, and through some chats with friends, I was like, okay, I've got loads of skills that I can use. And while, yes, I might not be able to put them out into the world because it seems impossible to be seen on social media, I started working at home with family and friends and people around the world that I know. And I started doing free Reiki, distance Reiki. I started doing reflexology on family and friends here. I started doing free online meditation classes. And just started doing nice things for people. And I wasn't doing the nice things so I could receive. I was doing the nice things because I wanted to give. And that in turn allowed me to get into flow. And because I feel the part of the manifestation into reality has been because of flow, because of giving as well as receiving. And don't forget, your own cups need to be filled and full. So you need to look after yourself before you can give to others. So make sure that you do that too. So these are all my tips and tricks for manifesting your life purpose. And I hope that it works for you. And if you want any if you need any questions or any comments or whatever, stick them in the box below. Hit the subscribe button and don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.